Oh my goodness. It is time. Confused why I have no feedback from my mic, when I realized, oh hey, my headphones are not plugged in to my mic. There we go, fixed it. Well, hey. So yeah. I know I'm talking to myself for the moment, but hey, that's fine. We got stuff to explore and look at and whatnot, and luckily I've signed in right when dawn's about to break. The weather could be better, but at least we'll have daylight to go exploring Eorzea and see what the fresh coat of paint looks like. I have not gone around yet. Have a look at things. Audio levels are all good. Everything's fine. I'm on the right scene. We don't have a chat block. Let's fix that. There we go. Yeah. All right. That's kind of the pre-flight checklist here. So, well, hey. We've got Eorzea in a glam I threw together in like 10 minutes. It's doing the new raid with a bunch of folks. So managed to go in as like one big group with no foreknowledge of anything, which was fun. Man, this weather does just kind of suck. But it's like, hey, we all know that this is like Final Fantasy XI theme, so let's see if I can slap together a Final Fantasy XI based concept of a glam. I think I did okay for, 10 minutes. It's not great, but it's good enough. So, without further ado, I know Western Thanalan, they were showing off in the patch notes. Other things that we've got lined up. So, we've got just kind of looking around at the fresh coat of paint. And I kind of feel like it might be better off just walking around and looking at stuff. I feel like it's the ground texture. You'd think after the number of times I have gone up and down these stairs, I would like know the ground texture like the back of my hand. Like that's kind of the trick that they've been doing with this graphical update. It's just like kind of anytime something changes, it makes you might notice it's like, hey, this feels different. I don't remember this archway. Is that always there? I really don't think that was. But did I just never look up? Anyway, yeah, that's kind of the magic of the trick they've done with the graphical updates. It's just like they know that they've already got something, and they've got this game, and people love this world and everything. So they have been very careful to try not to change it. Man, it kind of sucks that we're getting this weather. Flying out in this direction, mainly because this is like... I think these textures may have been updated. I don't know, that could have just been with like 7.0 stuff. Here we go. Like, the number of times I have stopped to look at the sunset or sunrise in this direction around these trees. Anyway, I don't know if I finished that sentence. Graphical update. Going well, doing cool things, and like one of those cool things is that it does make you kind of immediately wonder if something has changed or not. It's like if something has changed, then it's just like your brain might pick it up, but most like a lot of things have been very Oh, wow, that's... Okay, you look new. I just took a screenshot here very recently. I do not remember this landmass right there. All right. Time to go look at my own screenshots. Ew. Oh, those were there. Okay, I'm just crazy. Good lord. Oh, this is a flawed concept of an idea. Just the concept is flawed because my memory is bad. Hey, did you know there's a ferry skipper here and they'll take you over this direction? It's kind of nice. It's also a little pointless just because there's not really much here or there. So this was the one that they were showing off in the patch notes. It was like, this area has been updated. So like all of these lily pads, the moss on this statue. There was like a pillar added or something as well. Looking at it, I couldn't tell you which one. Don't mind me just keeping an eye on this sprout. They're fine. Man, like, even knowing the stuff that was changed here, it's like my brain is still like, second-guessing every aspect of it. Yeah, I think this path texture is new and updated and whatnot. Like, we are looking at needles and haystacks, basically. Staring at rocks. What a stream. This is such a bad concept, but you know what? That's what we're doing. Because this is the stuff that I find, like, I am super interested to see how they are kind of updating this game currently. Because, like, it seems like through... Like, they were always, you know... It's a living game. Like, it's a live operations game. There was always stuff going on. Stuff they were always updating. And... like, that's just the nature of live service games, is they are ephemeral and things are always changing. And they were always like updating things and trying to improve things and whatnot. But then we had it really does feel like since we've moved into Dawn Trail. Never actually, like, looked up over here. But it did feel like Endwalker was trying to finish out the story. And their, like, all of their work was directed into that aspect of it, of finishing out the main big story that they've been working on for 10 years. I feel like some of this plant's life here is adjusted. Like actually, I think, are these new? These trees? Like these little tiny trees? I don't think I ever remember seeing them, and there's a couple of them over here now. Like, I think there were these sort of puff things, but I do think these are updated slightly. But yeah, like, moving on from Endwalker, it does seem to me that, like, on top of the graphical upgrade, ooh, hey, grass under the water. May have been there, but, like, not as fancy. Like, with 7.0 and the graphical upgrade and everything, it does feel like they are trying to... I want to say pay off tech debt, but, like, it does feel like they have moved into doing a lot of quality of life updates that have been waiting or otherwise, like, delayed by we have big major story stuff to do. And, like, yeah, the big graphical upgrade of, like, getting all the textures into higher resolution and whatnot. Oh, those are little bits of grass. Huh. It's like, again, I've been, playing this game for a while, and I have gone through these areas so many times, and there's so many little details that I have probably just not looked at. Ever. Like, at all. Or just, like, didn't notice them. So it's kind of, this is a fool's errand, trying to find little differences in the world with the new update. Because, like, even knowing that the lily pads and the moss and everything were new in that one little section, I'm just unsure of anything that isn't super obviously changed. And, like, again, they've been doing a really great job trying to keep things consistent with how they were. I don't know if I've ever looked up here. That sky is real gross. But yeah, it's like, it does seem like the game's really kind of evolving in, like, a major quality of life way right now. Like, it's fascinating to me. Like, green magic streaks here? Those are neat. Yeah, like, overall it feels like post Endwalker, they've found room to breathe somehow. And, like, I'm really curious what's changed that has allowed them the breathing room to, like, focus so much on these quality of life updates. Like, I know to some degree it's like, okay, yeah, they're, 10 years in on this. They have, like, solidified their pipelines, and, like, they're running a smooth ship at this point. They built that ship on the ocean while drowning. Well, out of the wreckage of the previous ship. Are we just getting, like, some real nice lighting, or is it just updated textures or something that's making this real nice orange? But, like, to some degree, it's comfort with pipeline and tools and everything, for sure. But, like, the difference in how much quality of life update stuff, like, purely quality of life stuff, it really feels like Dawn Trails had, and, it hasn't had a whole lot. This is only 7.1 that we're in right now. But it does feel like it's found something feels like it's changed in their process that has allowed them so much more room to breathe to focus on these quality of life features, or they've just been like, these are all things that have been just, like, slowly being whittled away in the background or something. Like, I'm really curious what it is that's allowing for this greater focus on quality of life and these sorts of updates. I know, like, I'm pretty sure before Endwalker they started talking about the graphical updates. So, like, that's been a long time coming. And maybe it's that. Maybe it's, like, getting the core of the graphical updates done. It's like, maybe that we were, like, starting to find that time in Endwalker development, that they were able to, like, start devoting resources towards like the start of the graphical updates. And, like, I'm sure there is some amount of a lot of effort that goes into that. But, like, as you're finishing things up and, like, people are wrapping up their aspects of graphical updates, like, the colors do seem brighter here. Like, it might just be because of, like, the weather has turned to a very nice day. Just looking at the ground. Yeah, it does seem like their textures are just... They have gone through and, like, gotten much higher res textures. Hello. A fine time zone to you, Kurt. Welcome, welcome. Having a ramble about how are they finding their development time to devote to like all the quality of life and like graphical update things, and it's like trying to sort that out, but also trying to find minute differences. Like, oh hey, you can just fly into this branch. Huh. Wasn't expecting that. But also trying to find any sort of like actual noticeable differences, and the answer is, oh boy, this is a fool's errand. Yeah, like even knowing how much they updated like the little basin area in Western Thanaland, like that was, you know, that was one in the patch notes. Like even knowing that and having that direct comparison and looking at it myself, it's just like, yeah, I probably would not have noticed if they had not told me these changes were here. It's like, I think mostly it's coming down to just like all the textures seem to be higher resolution, so there's less pixelization on stuff. If I like go into first person and rub my face up against it, it's like I'm not really able to pick out anything in particular. Like there's been like a plant or a tree over in Western Thanaland that was like, hey, this might be a little bit different. Yeah, I've never actually looked at these fire sprites up close. They seem more glowy, almost. Like, it's just me. Is it just because it's sunny out? Or is it just like, you know, now that graphics update has occurred 2 places? Okay, this is like one of those points where it's like, I can feel like there's something a little different here, and I think it is just like the texture updates sort of stuff. Just because it's like I've come through here so many times doing, you know, Realm-Reborn Allied Tribe quests. Society quests, that's what they're called now. Just admiring his metal. Yeah, it is incredibly impressive. Like, when I was looking at the screenshots for like the Western Thanaland play, like that comparison side by side, it was just like, oh no, this is quite a bit different. There's like a new pillar and a bunch of stuff, and oh no, things have changed. How do I feel about this? And like going there is just like, oh, I can't notice this. If they had not told me, I really would not have known at all. No, the sand does feel sandier. Like, softer. I have spent a good amount of time looking at some of these dunes while taking screenshots. Like, that's the stuff that I'm going to be able to catch, maybe. Is like, if I have sat here and taken a a G-pose screenshot that took me a while to get right. Then I might notice something. Or I might point out something that I think has changed, and actually it was there last time I was there. Way over there, the gold saucer. Man, the gold saucer looks so tiny from here. Yeah, I had, like, considered going around. I had, like, a thought of going and doing, like, a... Let's tour Eorzea before and have a look at things. And it's like... Had considered doing that stream and then just kind of completely spaced on it, and then Tuesday patch time really snuck up on me. Okay, we've got another, like, case of, like... It feels different, but I can't tell. I think maybe this guy's wares. I'd have to like go back and like look at either the speedrun that I just did with Will, or like go look at like Lloyd's playthrough. Like really dig into all these things. Yeah, the ground texture for sure is like really cleaned up. Oh yeah, you can definitely tell with like this texture in particular. Like that one stands out, and it's just like it feels different, but it's like imperceptibly different, but like yes, that has definitely changed. Alright, you know what? Real quick, we're going to turn off mount music for now. Enjoy area music since we're doing a big tour. Poor guy has been out and unburied the entire time. Oh, really? Two of the vendors in Gridania switched. There you go. I haven't really poked around Gridania much aside from picking up my my Fantasia, which I now have 4 of. Yeah, that poor body's been rotting for 5 years and change. Yeah, like again, it's really impressive how they've managed to update things, and it's like, yeah, that's definitely different. And you can feel it in your bones, and like maybe you can point at like, yes, this texture is clearly different, but it's still very much, it's just like, yes, this is in fact still Eorzea, and it's still the Eorzea that I've been in for, you know, so many years at this point and wasted way too many hours. I don't want to do a slash playtime. I'm scared. This feels Like, the texture of the stone here feels different. Yeah, that's kind of the problem I run into. Also, like, whatever version I originally bought of the game, I think gives me, like, an extra Fantasia. So, it's like, I've got... Hey. I don't know if I've ever really looked around this view before. I'm reading over. Hmm. Ah, boo, we're about to lose light. Yeah, it's like everything still looks the same. It's just like cleaner. Like it is. It is that like I recognize that a thing has changed, but you know, if you put them side by side, I'd have a really hard time picking out exactly what it is. What are you doing, Blast? Okay. It's like, is there a fade about to spawn? It's like, what is that guy doing? It's almost more noticeable when you're further away, I think. Like, the lower quality textures further out stand out maybe a little bit more. Oh, is it no fishing in Eastern Thailand? Okay, I just took a screenshot of this guy. Yeah. I didn't notice that one, but then, you know, the person I know who fishes pointed it out. Alright. Try not to do anything spoilery with screenshots. That's what he looked like before. It's like, yeah, it's the same. It's just it is a little cleaner. And like that's really about it. It's just like, hey, the textures are higher quality. Hooray. Alright, before we lose all of the light, let's see if we can get into the burning wall. Yeah, I'm willing to guess, like... Ooh. Okay, that is noticeably nicer. Yeah, like, that's kind of my other thought, is like... Maybe as... It kind of feels like as part of their upgrades to, like, the graphics. This crystal looks really nice. Oh, that is... that is some tasty normal mapping. That is some nice, like, the quality of the texture, like, just the material quality as well. Tasty. Yeah, like I'm hoping as part of like the graphical update and whatnot, there are those moments where they're able to like update some of the legacy code and some of the poor spaghetti code. And before you came in, I mentioned this, like, you know, they've been on this ship for a while, making this game. I don't remember you blue crystals. I had never really paid much attention to them though. Oh, that is definitely different. The material on the interment Hulk shard. This path does not actually go down there. Yeah, I'm willing to guess that in replacing areas and like doing this texture upgrade stuff was replacing like the entire area data. So I'm willing to guess like whatever got saved out for Eastern Thanalan was like lacking the fishing data or whatever. Just like, oops, we unchecked that layer from the map in the export process. We'll fix it soon, but yeah. And yeah, I'm really hoping that they can get in, like, as part of like all the graphical updates and everything, that they've been able to go in and get some of the spaghetti code out. And like, it really does surprise me just like how much it feels like they've been able to find like time and resources to improve. Because there was just like a ton of quality of life in like so many quality of life updates in 7.1. Okay, yeah, this one you kind of feel the difference in textures here. Man, things are so crisp and nice. Yeah, I'm really curious, like how things have changed and like what it just feels like something has changed in their process that is allowing them to do this focus on quality of life. And also still, you know, without patches. And I haven't done a lot of 7.1 yet. Like I still need to do MSQ stuff. I've only done like the oh damn it. Just realized I never picked up my Alliance Allied Societal quest, that's the word. I'm pretty sure we just hit rollover. So I can check that real quick. Hmm. All right. I'm gonna go pick up some societal quests real quick. Yeah, these rocks, you can look at all that detail. Okay, we're going to do a quick pop over to zones. So, you know what? Actually, I'm just going to do one of these real quick. There we go. I've picked up my quests from suspiciously similar to an existing society quest. Actually, somewhere that I can check out real quick. I kind of feel like I don't know how serious Will is about doing a second speed run, but I definitely have that itch for real. So I kind of wonder if, like, if I were to do another speedrun and then put that footage side by side with the speedrun I just did, then we'd have at least a side by side comparison. Yeah. Good old sea of clouds and just... I'm glad they stopped doing zones quite like that. Ooh. This roof texture is just like, it's just nice. That like slightly more wooden material. Again, it's like textures, they're nice. Yep. All right. Well, it is nighttime. Let's go gander through Holotolly. Because that was, like, the thing on the list. Of, hey, this place has been updated. And it's one of those that they did, like, the very basic notes on. I think they did also just say it's like, hey, we've increased like the number of lights and shadows for existing dungeons. I don't remember that door having like the red texture on it. That is much nicer looking though in here with like that light. That's definitely new. Imp, would you just get over here so you can die? Okay, so this boss arena has definitely been updated. Interesting that there's gates around. Those are the torches where like the little fire sprites would come out of. And they got rid of like the big main torch here. Heck. Well, I forgot how hard I hit now, so we'll have to try this again to see what that boss has changed. Yeah, I don't remember these emblems on the doors. Also, it's weird that like the music is just gone. me the garbage. I need to get Grand Company Seals to buy more hammer prisms so I can keep updating outfits. It's like, as much as I love that there's that shortcut off the bridge there, it's kind of pointless because you have to run all the way over there to hit the switch anyway. I always forget about that treasure chest down there. You know, those are not half bad. Oh, rude. Very rude, in fact. They blocked off the right path. You can only go left now. I always went right. It's like they also solidified this wall, so there's no little bits to jump into. Is this actually timed based and not health based? Oh, we've got the new style of boss notices. Oh, that's just an attack now. Tank busters. In my Realm Reborn dungeons? Jeez. You know what? We're gonna stand in it. It does make me sad, though. Like, I always went right. I was the only one. It's like I went right and I made use of, like, the little holes in the wall to, like, jump down. I guess VFX is like much improved. It's really weird that the music like stopped playing here and is just like silence now. Okay, yeah, this room's definitely changed. There was not like a pillar in the way here. You can just go to the door still, right? Yep. Alright, change visually. We have torches around the room. Again. Tank busters. Oh my goodness, a whole 177. Oh, and now he goes into the center to cast Burning. Oh, that is a nice visual effect. That's a good change. Interesting that he keeps going back in the middle to cast things. It is nice that you don't have to, like, awkwardly go back to here to fight the fire sprite that is controlling his ward. That seems to be about. Yeah, squadrons here. That might be worth trying to run. I do still need, like, the achievement for finishing so many of the, like, squadron dungeons. You know, he himself has also, like, gotten a bit of a glow up. Hey, apparently that's on my Wondrous Tales. Hooray! You know what? That is a fine point. Let's go try that. And see how it goes. With that many seals, I might be able to get a whole glamour prism. Hooray, they succeeded. Good. Great job, squad. Halatali, let's heck and go. I still have squadron stuff. I do not. Alright, nerds, let's go. One of these days I should actually like get around to doing glamour stuff for these nerds. I've just kind of let them dress themselves to varying degrees of success. What are you doing all the way back there, Drew? Okay, now let's see what this new boss fight is like. Oh man, we've got like an actual mechanic. Tank buster even, which can't hit for too hard because, you know, not every tank actually, well, not even Paladin has short-term mitigation here. I mean, to be fair, mechanics in A Realm Reborn are kind of just suggestions. They never hit hard enough to do anything. Like, I'm just going to stand in this one. Hit for 100. Granted, I blocked it, but still. So yeah, they did get rid of the. We'll just take this base tank. This 255, which is, you know, kind of a lot, but not really. So yeah, they did get rid of the. All the tiny flames here. Replace it with some nice movement mechanic things. That seems fine. Like, it was one of those things of just like, in that fight, almost always the best plan of action was to just not do the mechanic. Just let the little torches come in and do their thing. And like, you know, I have slightly mixed opinions with how little damage mechanics seem to do in Realm Reborn. At this point, like, it's definitely one of those things of just like, it's nice that they have this soft landing of like, you know, it's the Mario World level 1-1 thing where you have like, you can run to the right, but you need to learn how to jump in order to like go up the first pyramid, and then like you go up the first pyramid and it's fine. There's no holes here, and then you go up the next one and now there's a hole. There are stakes. And so it's like it's nice that there's just like this soft learning experience in Realm Reborn, but it might teach people the wrong lesson that mechanics aren't bad, you can just stand in them. B. very much, you know, bumper bowling, I guess, with the mechanics in Realm Reborn, just really not hitting for a whole lot. I mean, I could just let him explode, but... yeah, that's true. Like, a lot of dungeons, it really doesn't matter if you stay in mechanics. It's really only in, like, major fights that it's like, oh, this boss actually, you know, hurts. Which again, it's like, I'm fine with. It's... I don't need to be pro gamer in random, regular content. This really does bug me that they close off the right path, because again, it's like, it was only me ever going to the right, but I always went right. Every time. I have to actively tell them to disengage, but... it's a weird change, and it's like, it's one of those, it's like, yeah, this totally makes sense to not have this weird path split thing. But it does just make me sad. Alright, kids, out of the pool. It's honestly kind of more fun to run this way with the squadron. I don't remember if they were smart enough to do anything before, or if you still had to tell them to, you know, not. Dear kids, please don't get yourselves injured. Okay, they were in fact not. Curious if the duty support ones, they've got to be smart enough to like get out of the water. That's kind of their whole point. Now this will be interesting. Do I need to, like, specifically call them off and tell them to attack other things? Yep. They are 100% doing the wrong thing. That's a little spicy. God, how just dumb they can be. Alright, we did it. Good news is, that means we now have a light, so let's head up to... Gotta love how Limit Break is all three of them just performing a combo attack. Yeah, Squad LB is actually kind of neat. It also is kind of nice that it fits into, like, everything that we learn about Limit Break being not just a mechanic, but you know, an actual plot relevant thing. Look at these high quality greens. It's like we're running into the thing again of just like I can't point to anything that's actually different. But it's like I know it's a little nicer. Okay, so I've definitely like stopped and taken screenshots within these things. Like you can see the normal texture here of like the wood grain. You know, I've never looked at this sign. Apparently I'm out of tea. Do have backup water. Yeah, it's like, I think the most noticeable thing so far in Gridania is the roofs. They do seem to just have like a lot more variation to them. Where you can like actually see like these individual shingles and they stand out more. Yeah, these. It's been forever since I had a character that started in Gridania, but like this circle definitely seems like it's more notably a thing. Sometimes forget just like how big and somewhat varied Central Shroud is. Like there is a surprising amount of stuff just kind of packed into this place. You've got those southern reaches that have like the undead. You've got the little Ikaran cave bit over here. There's a whole, you know, difference between the upper and lower sections. Over in this part of the map, there's like this old fortress place. There's a like random, apparently this is my mark to the west. Like there's a little cave over here. It's just like an animal den. May as well kill my mark since I'm here. Yes. I have terrible news for you, White Joker. Look at that, you took 2 hits. Good job. Yeah, there was the one year around Christmas when one of these rock faces, it might have been this one, it might have been this one. I think it was this one. For whatever reason, like the material got updated and like it was all shiny for the season. And it was like that for a couple of months. It was just like one of those weird little visual bugs. It was like shiny, reflective, and super smooth. You know, I can't say I've ever like come over here and looked at this stonework, but got some nice texturing to it. God, I do feel like this has been upgraded for sure. This stained glass for the front of Hawk Manor. So this is where we get into fun Eorzea facts and OC lore time. Like, my headcanon for Eorzea is that she was one of the first experiments slash victims of Hawk Manor. Somehow escaped, and now this door is boarded up. I think the door was always boarded up, but like that's the whole deal. Is just like, you know, there's the opening cutscene for Realm Reborn of like or I guess the title demo, whatever. The one what has Bahamut exploding everything, and there's like if ever I were to do like a OC lore video and it's like going through the backstory, it would be starting with that cutscene and then like the you know, whatever mega flare variation of Bahamut exploding Gridania is just like stop, do like the weird ding, you know, the classic like freeze frame ding sound, arrow pointing. It's just like Eorzea was here. But yeah, like her backstory. This, I've never really looked around up here. These little formations, those are neat. They've probably always been there. I do think that's gotten a bit of a glow up. Maybe. But yeah, headcanon is basically she got almost killed by, you know, the world getting exploded and Bahamut exploding the shroud. Was comatose, mistaken for a corpse, taken to Hawk Manor for, you know, succubus reasons. And the ritual kind of worked. Which is why she's, you know, now half succubus. Oh yeah, there you go. Look at that texture. You got upgraded. Goodness. That's some intense upgrade there. Yeah, basically, rest of backstory stuff is like because of that ritual and her suddenly having, succubus that woke her from her coma, and succubus powers got her out alive. Um, and then turns out Gridania kind of sucks for Duskwhite. So that's why she went to Ul'dah, where it doesn't matter that she's a Duskwhite, and the only thing that matters is the weight of her coin purse. I do just feel like color, like, I don't know if it's just like I'm getting lucky with like the bright daylight. Wow, that is shiny. That is nice. That sticks out so much more, honestly. I don't know if it's just like I've been getting lucky with like the daylight, but it does feel like the colors are a little bit more vibrant. I do kind of get the sense that the ground layer of shrubbery, greenery, just ambient plant life. It feels a little bit tuned higher, maybe for Gridania, like particularly around Northern Shroud. Oh yeah, that rock texture is much nicer. Decorations around the hedge tree are like a little more pronounced because they're higher quality. I feel like I would notice if anything had changed in this general area. I think that furnace is actually like nicer looking. Like the fire effects on it. All right. These roofs. This plant life growing out of the roof, that's new. Like, these were just kind of mossy green color, but they didn't have, like, the ambient plant life. I'm fairly certain. That's nice. That's a nice adjustment. I know that from all the time I've spent meandering near Palace of the Dead, hopping onto rooftops there. Yeah, the brickwork being updated is like a little bit noticeable. I feel like these guys are shiny now. Were they shiny in 7.0? That's kind of the only question I have on it. Of course, there's like this old 1.0 reference space here. It's like one of those ancient dungeons from 1.0 that was like back when they had just like open air dungeons basically. One of those fun things that you only learn from like YouTube videos on the subject. It's like there's never been a lot of information on Gilmora, and it bums me out because I'm really, really curious about every aspect of it, basically. But like this ring in particular, and somewhere around here, there's like a weird little statue. But like, this is like one of the remnants of Gilmora, essentially. Tree, you and your fate are kind of harshing my vibe. Like in 1.0 apparently there was like this ring used to just like exist in a little grove, and it was like extremely super mega difficult to get to because it was surrounded by super high level monsters. Man, they are really being uppity with their stupid scam phishing links. Alright, let's see. Alright, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna hit a BRB and report this real quick. Alright, change my mind. Just blacklisting for now. Oh, hello. Rock which you can see under. I mean, granted, there's a flat ledge there and the rock is... It's not like a hole in geometry, it's just like the rock is not fully against the ground. Anyway, there should be somewhere around here like one little statue thing, which the... Like in 1.0 there was like this circle and then like around the circle were a bunch of the little statues. After we're actually gonna send you away for now. Fascinating that getting in close removes so many shadows. I thought it was down around there. All right, well, I tried. Couple of hours of late lift. Let's actually use that to poke around Gridania. Like, I know some lighting changed around. Oh, it's just dramatic shadows. Like, I know some lighting changed around Ul'dah and like some of the market stall stuff, and good lord, that is so much clearer. These signs are legible. My goodness. You can actually use the signs to navigate the town. Oh man, I never noticed these little conjurer carvings. I wonder if that's any new geometry or if they were always there and I just never saw them because, one, I wasn't looking, and two, because, like, low quality textures and all that. I know there were some fun details in places that was just, like, really hard to see. This cave looks much more impressive. Is that just from, like, lighting? Were there always Orionges around around the outside, sitting cross-legged? Oh man, the no entry sign is like... There's a bit more of like brushstroke that you can actually see now. There's of course a question of like how much of this stuff was already in 7.0 over 7.1. It's like, it's a shame that like my best frame of reference is going to be the speed run, in which I was definitely not looking closely at things. God, look at how clear those icons are now. Oh yeah, that seems a lot more red. You definitely did not have nearly as high poly pumpkins around here, sir. They're real nice looking. Like, I couldn't tell you what was in this shop before, but like... stuff like feels like a bunch of stuff would have changed. And like these pumpkins are really nice looking. Like, not quite photorealistic, but you know. That's a good pumpkin. God, I am so impressed with just like these icons being so much more legible now. That really feels like a recent change. And you can actually tell that this is like... This actually looks like a mortar and pestle now. I'm gonna have to go check out Wineport, see how their scrapes are doing. Trying to mount up in town. Again, it's like, it's all the little things of just higher quality texture so that they're not getting crunched to heck. So that certain things are becoming illegible. Like, you can actually see, look at that, that's an aetheryte icon. It's not just a blue smudge. Good and bad news depending on my feeling on scrapes. I did love my scrapes. I don't think they were quite as scapular as they had been previously. Last I had gone and taken... I think I have a screenshot of it, actually. You know, you mentioned that like 2 of the vendors got swapped because they were in the wrong place. I think I vaguely remember having issues occasionally coming into Gridania and shopping and like looking for a specific thing and just like the wrong person having it. Dive vendor and the person to their left. Vendor, tradecraft supplier. I just walk right by it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Like, especially now that they have the proper fixings around. It's like, this is very much food. This is very much not food. Dash on over to Eastern Shroud before we lose the light. Yeah, again, seeing just like the plant life is like the ambient plant life is more prevalent. The path also seems to be a bit more overgrown, honestly. Are there always like the wood slats to mark the path? Oh man. So I don't remember you having a little desk or stuff behind you, but honestly, that could just be faulty memory. I do feel like this rug got a lot nicer. Yeah, was this like this before? Who knows? I certainly don't. That, however, that feels like it's been updated. Again, this might have been a thing that was updated in 7.0 and I just never really came back through here. And again, the only footage I have to compare against really is like the speed run that will. So I have to, but like this being metal and reflective, that feels new. Look at this thing that is like fancy. Was it always here? Did I just never notice it because it wasn't shiny? This feels different. Like, I don't remember quite so large of a wheel being so immediately apparent against the backdrop of the forest. I remember, like, when they added flying, being really surprised at just, like, how much there was in terms of Imperial warship ruins, basically. It's like, it's definitely stuff you didn't really notice when you were on the ground, but then it's like, once you can fly, you just see it kind of everywhere. Oh, you. Oh, you. You and your gosh darn relic weapon fate. Again, it's like little things of the ambient plant life being slightly adjusted. More lights, it feels like. And like being able to see this medallion icon from across the way and it being here and being shiny and like having this woven texture. That I'm fairly certain is new. It might not be. this stuff was here before. I don't remember it glowing quite so much. And they have done such a great job making me question everything. I don't remember this being shiny. That's something I can point to. But again, how much of it is a 7.0 versus 7.1 thing? Alright. Let's head to Wineport real quick. Time to look upon our squeeps. Alright, I know I took a screenshot vaguely recently. God knows how far down I'm going to have to dig exactly. Past all the Elftober stuff. For Castlevania. And Ender Lilies, that's the one. I think I deleted everything from Ender Lilies, though, because I didn't like... There we go. Old Squapes. For comparison. And these would have been 7.1 Squapes. Let's take this in for a second. Look at our leaves, our Squapes, our wooden stuff. Looks like I did take this screenshot at night, so we have like direct comparison. This little grass, the ground texture and all that. Here is... Oh yeah, that leaf texture is a lot more... Scrapes seem to have just a little more detail. Not too sure on the polygon count. The grass is definitely different, but like, you know, in like the most mild way. Oh, right, we had the twigs as well, or the quote-unquote scaffolding, I guess. Actually has like a wood texture. Yeah, like, not... Again, it's, like, imperceptibly changed. Where it's like, yes, the leaf texture seems to be higher quality. You can actually tell, like, the shape of the leaves and, like, there's more detail within them. the ground texture has been updated like in a way that is, it's still, you know, very rocky earth, just slightly adjusted and cleaner to read. The grass texturing and like the, you know, vegetation, that's the word I've been looking for way too long. Like the vegetation aspects of it. It's like, yeah, every blade of grass is not in exactly the same place, but it looks real good. And since we're next to one of these nice fancy glowing crystals, we're going to go look around. Ooh, actually. Look at this high quality, vaguely metal. This was a keypad? You mean to tell me that this thing had a keypad on it the entire time? Yeah, lighting updates have been kind to Garlean structures for sure. Man, that's some tasty forbidden candy. Oh, right. This weird boat. Yeah, it's like, it's so hard to tell with like the minor details. I know like generally like the lighting system change for 7.0 brought in a lot more of the like the metallic sheen. I know they like kind of specifically quoted that like shadows and lighting were the thing that got updated. I know they mentioned that for like dungeons in particular. I hate that shark. It's a fear of 3D water that was instilled in me by my childhood of Sonic drowning music, the Mario 64 eel, and all of those horrible, horrible early 3D games that were just like, yeah, let's have a water section. And it's just a really bad time. Don't need a random shark sneaking up on me. Oh yeah, the Garlean third eye suddenly having a metallic sheen. Like I feel like that bothered some people because it didn't have it before, and now it's just like, oh, okay. That changes the look of things quite a bit. All right. Since we have lost our light, let's go learn about dodging attacks. As your level rises, you will face greater combat challenges with all manner of dangerous enemy attacks. These exercises are designed to arm you with the knowledge you'll need to survive. Upon completing them, you'll receive a Neophyte's Ring, which is experience when sink down below level 60. Oh, yeah. I can definitely see that being an issue. I realized tanking had the most exercises. Wow. That's actually really useful. Just straight up like, hey. Oh my goodness, it's almost like they're trying to teach people how to play the game. Hey, look, blue line Asuna. An actual call out for it somewhere in this goddamn game. Oh. Yeah, I'm really like that does bug me that it's like they have this cast bar section, it doesn't have like, hey, by the way. Here's the thing about interjects and whatnot. Alright, let's go react to attack markers. Is this the Final Fantasy III battle music, or is it the Final Fantasy II battle music? Now that you're prepared, go stand in the circle. As you dial this no few magic strikes, so the striker rays around the target. Markers attack will often look like this. If you sense that you've been marked, you do well to move away from your allies so they can't be caught in the blast. Hey, don't catch people in this purple circle. Hot dog. The danger is greater still if an ally is targeted at the same time. Standing close to one another, you'll suffer double the impact. Oh, let the exercise begin. Commencing in 3, 2, 1. Complete with the pugilist saying, spread out. It's nice that they give you an option to learn these things outside of, you know, Bardum's Medal. Our next exercise features a strike so powerful it cannot be endured alone. Allow me to demonstrate its marker. This would have been really nice to know when the Final Fantasy XV event came around the first time, because I'd never seen a stack marker before. Should the enemy perform such an attack, you and your allies must stand together in order to weather it. Upon sensing this marker, locate its target and make your way there as quick as you can. Let the exercise begin. Commencing in 3, 2, 1. I do actually really appreciate them showing that you can stand, like, pretty wide within that circle. Among you adventurers, I have given them to understand that these are known as stack markers. Rings odd to my ear, but I suppose it matters not. Start the next exercise, take your position. Oh. There. Bothers me not having tank stance on. Next we'll look at lethal variety of attack, none but a tanky panel. Behold, its marker. Remember, only the tank is equipped to survive a blow of this magnitude. Any other continent's plasma won't be left standing. Now for a proper demonstration, everyone, position yourselves so the tank may shield against the strike alone. Yeah, like, there's so much of this game that's just, like, not taught. Bravo, Mr. Selborn. These attacks pack quite a punch. Should it fall to you to deal with it, you do well to employ what abilities you have to lighten the damage. Start the next exercise, take your position. Show me the circle. Next, let us practice how to handle a more persistent threat. Take note of this marker. I do kind of wish they actually mentioned that there are the different flavors of Tank Buster marker. What follows a chain of attacks that chase you doggedly. You must stay on the move all the while keeping away from your allies. Let the exercise begin. Alright, where are you nerds moving off to? Spectacular work. With that, your basic training is complete. Now come and speak to me if you'd like to attempt my final challenge. Sir, work over the challenge, sir. Now you've learned the basics, time to put that knowledge to the test. Overcome this final challenge, your training will be complete. Once you're prepared, take your starting position. Allow me to test all that you've learned thus far. In this exercise, you will face a slew of different attacks, each of which you must deal with appropriately to minimize the harm you sustain. Let the exercise begin. Wrenching in 3, 2, 1. It's always fun when NPCs are involved. Again, showing off the, hey, you can spread out pretty far within that circle. It's kind of fun seeing the NPCs move in unison with this. Handle every last threat with finesse. It is a pleasure that I declare you have passed the challenge. Hooray! I did it. That's not it. All of the novice. Training. Tactical training level 2. Oh no. If I learn something from this, I'm going to be kind of upset. Welcome, Mr. Selborn. In this training exercise, we will have you carry out a medley of cutting-edge tactical maneuvers. My agent here will serve as your opponent, try to get a sense of her oncoming attacks, and handle them accordingly. Take your starting position when you're ready to begin. I do really appreciate that all of this stuff is, like, in the game now. A little sad that it's, like, only... I don't know, it's definitely one of those things, it's just, like, it makes sense that they don't put this immediately available. As soon as you sense this knockback marker, you will have but a few moments to position yourself before you are pushed a set distance away from the point of impact. This exercise, I placed a ring of lightning aether around the arena. Your goal is to position yourself so that you won't be sent hurtling into it. It's like, I'm really torn on them holding it to 50, because it's like, it definitely is like, hey, this would be kind of nice to know ahead of time. It kind of makes sense. Like, it's one of those things, like, you're already kind of overwhelmed throughout A Realm Reborn with so much information of, like, learning to play the game at all, and all the geopolitical state and everything, and also there's the whole storyline happening, and you're just learning your class and who all of these characters are, and also how to play, like, how all of this combat junk works. So it's like, you have a ton of information, and I know that information overload is kind of a whole thing. So it's like, I kind of understand why they would put it off all the way to 50 with this, but it is like, yeah. Unlike last time, I don't recommend you stand directly in the center of it, unless you receive a most painful blow to the skull. And so, once more, I challenge you to avoid being flung into the landing. Where will you stand this time? Well, if you keep talking, sir, then I'm just going to use arm's length again. So it's like, I kind of get it as like putting it off until the point at which it's like, okay, stuff is going to start actually hurting now, so maybe learn how to dodge the attacks instead of just standing in them if you haven't figured some of the stuff out yet. And it's nice that there's actually, like, I don't know. It's like leaving it to 50 feels like it's so long and so far into the game. It is kind of nice that they're also, like, standardizing the terminology with these things. So, like, this is a proximity marker, and that's what most people call it, and that's what we're going to call it here in these exercises too. So, like, yeah, I'm real torn. I'm real torn on, like, them pushing this out to 50, because it's like, it makes sense from the avoiding information overload aspect, but that also just feels like it's so late, and getting a ring that boosts your experience for the next 10 levels doesn't seem all that worth it. Especially, like, with, if you have road to whatever level, if you have that for signing up to, you know, a less populated server, then it's like, you're probably already over 60 on your main job by the time you're through MSQ. Now let's move on to tower tactics. This type of attack is one that must be endured rather than avoided. See the tower marker? If no one stands inside to weaken its impact, the entire party will suffer a devastating blow. Therefore, one person must volunteer to take the tower, shielding the rest of the party from far greater casualties. Look at some numbered markers. I don't actually know what a limit cut is off the top of my head. It doesn't help that all the nomenclature I use is largely what my friends call things, which is not always correct. We have like one that's the wide angle. It's based off of like wide angle particle beam or whatever. So there's just like any significantly large cone is now just called WAP in that friend group. Spectacular work. With that, your basic training is complete. Now come speak to me if you'd like to attempt my final challenge. You get a die marker over your head. Oh, okay. That, like... huh. Why would it be... Why would it be called limit? What? Like... It's just numbers. Like, that's all there is to it. It's just like, yeah, it's just numbers. Let's commence this final challenge and then get to other things. Oh, okay. It's one of the classic of the first time that ability, like the first time we saw that marker was called this, and therefore we name it that forever. In this exercise, you will face a slew of different attacks, blah, 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 blah. You've heard this before. Yes, I am cheating on this exam by having arm's length and using it so I don't know where the NPCs are going to drop themselves to. Those being called tower markers and not meteors. It's like, it makes sense why the in-game characters would say tower marker variant instead of meteor markers. But also, it's like, but they're towers and also meteors. Even more advanced tactical maneuvers. Engineer serves your opponent. You've heard all this. Just get ready. Proximity tether looks like this. I am so happy they're introducing this mechanic ever at all. When entangled with one of these, to remain near the enemy is to risk suffering a painful strike. Instead, use the precious few moments you have to retreat until the tether's magic weakens. I think one of my other favorite friend callouts is Tiny Pizza. Which is just like any significantly small triangle shape. As specifically like where the safe triangle is. If it is a small safe triangle, it's Tiny Pizza. Before we move on, there's another type of tether attack I wish to cover. Take note of this marker. Unlike proximity tethers, these can be intercepted at will, allowing you to sustain a blow on another's behalf. This exercise, let's suppose your enemy intends to detonate a bomb. To prevent a lethal explosion, your only recourse is to shield the bomb yourself. Keep standing here. Among our other favorite callouts are that was a raid wide, only to be spoken after it was a raid wide, and oh shit, which is anything that is half of the mark or half of the arena. When the spell is cast, all those facing its direction will suffer some manner of unpleasant effect, in this case, petrification. Fortunately, the solution is simple, but turn away from the enemy to neutralize its effects entirely. Let the exercise begin. For your next exercise, let us discuss status effects such as poison or paralysis, and more importantly, the curing thereof. Hey, blue lines! While there are full many varieties of combat ailments, a fair few can be swiftly relieved with Asuna. Blue lines, you can remove things. Oh my goodness. Oh, I love this so much. For this exercise, let's see you evade the attack as soon as Asuna has done its job. Incredible. Spectacular work. With that, your basic training is complete. Speak with me, final challenge, all that jazz. In this exercise, blah 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 blah. Don't get got. Always fun trying to figure out which one the NPCs are going to take.
I did it.
That sure is a ring. Oh, 30% when below level 60. It's actually pretty nice. Alright. Get into the armory chest so I can forget to equip you every time I'm actually leveling something. And end up... It's weird. Seeing the volumetric lighting without the sun in view. So, yeah. I think overall... So, okay. So what do we need to cover? We have looked around a lot of Eorzea. Oh, hey, those are new. I'm fairly certain these like stringy plants on the beach. Sup, Cancer? How's it going? Yeah, those are definitely new. I do not remember those being around giant crab. Like, overall, the changes to Eorzea are largely imperceptible and, like, needle in a haystack sort of things of trying to find them. It's very much like, sometimes you can just point at a thing and just be like, ah, yes, that's a much nicer texture or something, but like, even in like the Western Thanalan preview screenshot where they like specifically had the slider back and forth so that you could like see very specifically, it's like they added a pillar here. When like even looking at that in game, it's not like materially different. And it's like, if they hadn't specifically pointed out that one change, there's no way in heck I would have noticed it. It's like, again, it's like, okay, yeah, these stone textures seem a little bit nicer. I think this was always here. I noticed it once ever. Because from over here, looking at it, it just looks like weird shaded rock. Now you can actually like see that netting from afar. You know, I'm surprised I've never like flown over here before. Ever. Not once. Yeah, like in terms of graphics updates and like, hey, Eorzea has this fresh coat of paint. It's like it's very much that. It's like the paint is a fresh coat. It's the same color. It's like maybe we had to. Maybe it's, you know, just a little bit of a different color, but like for the most part, nah, it's the same. Yeah, there is actually like one more spot I think I want to check. Oh man, look at how much clearer. Good God. It's such a clearer icon. I might need to turn the cooldown on that message down. Feels like it's popping up a lot. Honestly, I probably should have gone to Morndona. Yeah. Fresh coat of paint. It's a fresh coat of paint. Of basically the same color. Very difficult to notice any of these changes. Like, the one thing that I do want to go look at is Polone's marker icon space thing, because I've just seen like that is drastically more apparent for the one near places Morby Dry Docks. Okay, still really hard to see, but perceptible. Like, it's there. Didn't get updated? Okay, well, you know what? Maybe I'm just making things up, but this feels like it's easier to see. Maybe I'm just thinking of pre 7.0. Who knows? I could also just be making things up. My memory sucks. That's really all there is to it. My memory is just bad. I mean, this area is actually like really neat. Forbidden Jawbreaker. I really need to go do MSQ just because. Okay, so playing on controller, there's like the touchpad cycles through UI elements. The MSQ tracker is the first thing on that list. So it's throwing me off because I've gotten accustomed to that being the I've gotten accustomed to that being the map when I have it open, so it's just like, ooh. That blue feels different. Yeah, these crystals are much nicer. I have to go look at, like, Will's stream of, Wells of Bahamut to see how much of an update there was. Anyway, fresh coat of paint. It's nice. It's very good. I am again like maintaining the look of everything while updating it is, as we've seen with so many remasters before, it can be really tricky. But from everything that I've seen, they've been doing just a real bang up job. Everything, like, still looks and feels materially the same, but, like, it's how you remember it looking is ultimately what it comes down to. And it's like your brain has filled in some details and made things a little bit nicer. And ooh, they actually, I think they updated the old model actually. There's a lot more detail in that. Yeah, it's like this path definitely different, definitely updated, and like the stone texture definitely a little bit different, but like not in a way that is materially different. It's like it's still this mixture cobblestone, like I don't think this is a cobblestone, but like this mixture red brown stone and dirt. The vegetation, it's like it's a little bit more dense in places or like slightly rearranged, but like not in a way that matters. Like it is that here's a million tiny details that are just like making things feel and look nice. I know one of the other big screenshot things that they did was like some of the like the shop storefronts actually have like a lot more detail and like this stuff was swapped out to be just more visually interesting, frankly. Like I think this is one of the storefronts that they showed, and it was just like vague shapes of things, and now it's like actually like different colors of produce and peppers and peas or dates or something. So it's like those little things changed, and it's like it's way less noticeable than you would think it might be. But frankly, it looks real good. Okay, so actually, like, now that you've pointed out that those shopkeepers changed, it's like I've never noticed this, and it's possible that they didn't even have it before. This like strip of cloth with several different colors, it's like that actually points out this is the person you talk to for dyes and such. I hate going to Limsa, but we're going to Limsa. I'm going to turn off the UI, and we're going to find the dye seller. Yeah, like, if it did exist before, I definitely didn't ever pay attention to it or see it. And also, it wouldn't have helped that, you know, the one in Gridania was wrong. Yeah, here we go. That's neat. That is really neat, actually. Like, that makes me really happy that there's just, like, that little attention to detail that is just something that may have existed, but I've never looked at. I've always looked at, like, what are their things that they say underneath? But man, that's going to make it so much easier. Like, I have definitely... I mean, this person's called a dye monger, so it's really easy to find out who's selling dye around here. But, like, I have definitely at times in other cities gone looking for who sells dye and struggling to find them somewhat. Again, it doesn't help that in Gridania, apparently that person was in the wrong location. But, like, that visual element is really... That's so cool. That's neat. That makes me oddly, like, weirdly, really, really happy. It's one of those just like, this is just a nice detail. You know, I've never actually noticed that the airship landing still shows, like, the lower section maps. Alright, fresh coat of paint, real nice. Look at these icons. You can see them. You can tell that's a fish. You can tell that's a thing of Bob for or not astrologans. Arcanists, that's the word. Makes me so happy the signs are legible. Okay, there is, like, one thing that I'm going to point out. And for that, we need to go back to old... And this is the one that, like, stood out to me personally. Since, you know, I live here and I go to an awful lot. And that is this landing here. This light. This lighting, like, coming out from the residential district and having this light greet me and, like, highlight the floor. Like, immediately that, like, alerted me to the visual differences. Like, if I wander around Ul'dah enough, then I will find those sorts of, like, slight changes. And also, like, you can see the, like, kind of the grout between the stones now. So it's like... That was my introduction to, like, the 7.1 visual changes, was just, like, a light specifically highlighting, hey, this texture is changed, and then walking up this ramp with, like, light sources up here that specifically glow and make the changes in the flooring super noticeable. So I was kind of expecting more of that for this stream, and, like, meandering around and looking at things. And I'm happy to say that nothing else was nearly as pronounced. Like, most everything else is just like... I see you. 1 pixel too high wall. Yeah, like this was like the pronounced change was coming out of the residential area, seeing specifically this new light that is pointing down, highlighting the changes to the flooring area, and then like coming up this ramp and seeing this like the reflection of these stones and seeing that you can now see kind of the grout and shape of the individual tiles. So like that stuff immediately stood out, and pretty much nothing else in this entire tour did that. Yeah, probably should. Like, that is definitely some unintentional. This wall is 1 pixel higher than the floor is. And like not entirely sealed off, it looks like. But overall, changes are imperceptible. It's really just kind of because I live here and I always exit that direction and I always see that hallway where there used to not be a light, and I go up that ramp and look at that floor, and now the floor is shiny and you can see the differences. Like, that was the stuff that was noticeable. Even going out to Western Thanalan and looking at the now moss-covered statue and new pillars and lily pads, I would not have known any of that was there if they didn't tell me ahead of time, hey, here are some of the visual updates for the world. So, great job, dev team. Yeah, Syndicate cheaping out for this random 1 Hollywood cardboard cutout of a wall. It's fine, that just leads to the residential area anyway. As we all know, that's where the riffraff live. Like me. I do love the goblet, honestly, though. Like, I know most everybody else doesn't want to live here. I actually do. I actually like the goblet. It's just like, I don't know, I'm a sucker for the wide horizon and the view here. And it's like, yeah, Limsa, I forget what that place is, what the housing area is called in Limsa, but it's like, yeah, that place has, you know, the ocean, but like, I don't know, there's just something about this view in particular that I really like. It's got great stargazing, as can be seen in some October stuff, which, you know, you were here for, but I'm going to show it off anyway because I can. There we go. Hooray for Limsa and the goblet and all that. It's nice there. I swear. Holotally changes. Little said about, you know, them killing off my right path because I was the only one that ever went right. I think the changes to the bosses are like, they're positive. Just pretty flat around. They're positive because it's just like, it used to be you get to that first boss and it was just always like, yeah, there are ads, don't mess with them, they're just a waste of time. The second boss having its like deal 30% damage and it does a lightning attack, do another 30% damage and does the same lightning attack, like, oh no, ooh ah, how fearsome. So like that now just being on like its attack rotation makes a lot of sense, and it also allows them to do their new kind of combat warning overlay stuff that, as far as I'm aware, is new to Dawn Trail. And it's kind of neat to see it being backported a bit. There's also like some more interesting attack markers to learn in different shapes. There's the new final boss with its it's now obvious when it stops taking damage, so like you don't have to deal with like the you don't have to deal with not knowing that it's invulnerable. Like that was always kind of a problem at times. It was just like you get the sprout that's new to it. They might keep attacking the main boss because, well, you know, it is the main boss and it's not obviously not taking damage. You would only like really see that if you're looking at your damage numbers floating off it and realize that it's, oh, here's a bunch of zeros floating off of it. The like not having the constant, I don't know, just like having the whole invulnerability phase be a controlled thing and then having the ads spawn during that, instead of having, here's this one weird extra fire sprite. Yeah, and if you have damage numbers turned off, then good luck. You know, I'm realizing I think these textures have also been updated. Because I do not remember seeing shapes in my house. But yeah, like, I really don't think there's I feel like some of the other changes that they've done, I don't want to say are bad, but like, I feel like there's arguments against them in some of the other dungeon changes that they've done to like simplify it, both for making it a better play experience for new players and like actually teaching them how to play the game that they're going to be playing. Because that was like one of the big things about old Realm Reborn dungeons, was just that they were kind of nonsense compared to the rest of the game. They were neat and they had some neat ideas in them, but the rest of the game isn't like that. So like having these things that are like teaching you more about the game that you're actually playing is quite good. And like I think there are some arguments against, like, not necessarily arguments, but like you can say, well, it's a shame that this was lost, I guess. I don't feel that about Halatali's boss changes, aside from the right path. That's the only thing that's a shame to be lost, is the right pathway. Boo-hoo. But yeah, it's like the final boss of Halatali is now, it's like it's got a clear invulnerability stage that is like obvious what's going on, and introducing the idea of just like go fight ads. Like if you can't hit the boss, go hit the ads. You don't have ads in the earlier boss, that they didn't matter at all. You have a more consistent electric lizard, and like I think really the biggest thing with like that electric water attack no longer being tied to health percentage, that prevents things like what I would sometimes do, where I would go, because there were gaps in the fence, you could like, if you got the angle right and got far enough down, you could use like shield lob to grab the aggro. There's a way to activate the AFK camera. I've forgotten it. But yeah, like old Holotolly, occasionally I would go like from afar, pull that dumb the dumb lizard, and then drag it all the way back to like the entrance of the fight. And you saw me kind of do that tonight. Where I was like taking it all the way back to the entrance, and then it just turned around and went back down to the water. Because it using the electrified water attack was based off of its health percentages. And then it would also summon the stupid lightning sprites, which attack from afar. But like dragging that boss up to the entrance and then stunning it would allow DPS to sit there and just bully it. So it's like you get it down to where it starts turning around to go away, and then you would stun it. And as a paladin, since I've got shield bash, I have a slightly longer stun. It was just like, here's a way to fight this boss that is like a try hard method, but I'm on Midgard Sommer, so it's, you know, welcome to try hard Aether servers. And that's no longer a viable strategy for that boss, because it will just do the electrified water attack on a timer instead of based off of health percentages. So yeah, good changes to Holotolly. I can see all of the justification behind those changes. I can see what they are offering to newer players. I think one of the other big changes is by taking away the central, like, I want to just dive, screw it, we'll just dive in. Yep. Once more into the breach. Should have switched to machinist so I can peloton through this, but it'll be fine. It's like, okay, the rest of the dungeon hasn't changed. Like, maybe some lights are different and whatnot, but not a material difference. I do not remember those textures being on those doors at all. But like, really the biggest thing, and I think one of the bigger, more important, best changes that they have in here is that there's no longer that central bonfire in the floor here. And like, that seems like a really small thing, but that's huge. It makes this aether flow way more noticeable. Like, partially because they have definitely boosted the visual effects for this aether flow. So it's no longer like this little glowing light on the side of a bonfire that was just like off to one side. Because I definitely remember when I ran Holotolly the first time that I was really confused where people went after this boss. And this is also one of the like earlier fights where you might have something like this aether flow. Yeah, I definitely should turn the frequency of that message down. Anyway, like, getting this is just like, it's one of those small things, but so important that they've gotten rid of this central bonfire and changed the visual effects so you cannot miss this at all. There's clearly something here. Hopefully you haven't done anything silly like turn off, you know, interactable names or something like that. But honestly, if you're a sprout at level 20 and you're going into Holotolly, you probably haven't. You're going to be able to find it. And odds are you will see your party come over and interact with the giant blue glowing thing in the center of the room that is no longer a tiny little glowing light on the side of a bonfire. That is, I think, my favorite change. Just flat out, that is such a great change because it is... There's nothing to say aside from it's very good. I can't tell if you're being sarcastic. Oh. But yeah. I'm super happy with that change. Like, Holotally changes, no complaints. I, like, asterisks. A bit of a shame that the right path got blocked off, but I can live with that. Sub-interactable names off. Oh, yeah. I know, for fighting Susano, I had adjusted, I think it's in the targeting section of character config stuff. I had, like, turned off one of these things. I think it was NPCs and objects. So it's like, they wanted, you know, going into Susano, it's like, all right, go up and interact with the thing. It's just like, oops. I can't interact with it because I turned that off in my filters. So, Code of Pink, good. Holotally changes, good. The Hall of Novice stuff, thank goodness. It's just like, that information is in the game at all. Like, that is such an improvement. Oh, that is such a wild, massive improvement to just the stuff not being said or mentioned anywhere. Again, kind of like mixed opinions on it being at level 50. That feels a little off. Like, that feels like it's so late, especially with like the blue line Asuna thing. Like, they just need to take out all of the old, like, I really think they need to just remove the old training exercises and replace them wholesale. Because I'm going to load up the list now, but it's like, I know for tank, okay, so yeah, avoid area of effect attacks, which is the first lesson for everybody. Combo, like, do your combos to get the highest aggro, and it's like, that's not right. don't do that. Use your AoEs. Execute a combo in battle through enmity, and just like, all of this stuff is just not great. Like, DPS needs to have, hey, you have aggro, take it to the tank. Healing needs to have, hey, blue line Asuna. Tanking needs to have, hey, use your AoEs. Don't just combo things down. Like, these lessons are just bad. It's like, especially because it comes before accruing immunity from multiple targets. I remember the healing ones being largely useless. And then the DPS ones, there's some weirdness in there, if I remember correctly, of like, I think they still talk about like the benefits from attacking from behind, which have not been true for a long time, basically. Like, unless you're fighting something that is like specifically a higher level than you, then maybe it comes into play. But I'm fairly certain that the attacking from the rear benefits have been gone for a long, long time. But new stuff that they've added to Hall of Novice, again, kind of mixed feelings about it being at 50, but also, like, I understand because there's so much happening in the game up to that point. But, like, just showing you what the markers are and telling you how to deal with them is incredible. And also, you know what? Level 50, a lot earlier than Bardam's Medal. Like, Bardam's Medal was unfortunately the tutorial for how to do combat mechanics. And that's what, 68? Something like that? Oh, it's just ridiculous. Just... It's... As much as I have loved this game, it's wild how much people love this game. Based off of how not informative it has been. I do, like, there's always, like, those big Reddit posts of just like, hey, post something that you learned way too late in Final Fantasy XIV. And every time, you have to go through that post and just, like, read through everything, because you will probably learn things that you should have known for years. And it's very silly how much of this game just goes unknown. Oh, anyway, it is late, later than I intended to stay up, I think, but it's fine. Well, hey, I have had a good time poking around Eorzea and digging into tutorials and simple little baby dungeons, and overall, yeah, all good stuff. all real good stuff. I am just gonna wrap, so not gonna bother looking for raid targets or anything like that. Thanks for hanging out, Kurt. I'm glad I had somebody to ramble at throughout this experience and look around things. At some point, I'll have to tap you for getting those last couple Wrathlos kills. Anyway, I'm gonna go to sleep. Have yourself a good morning, night, evening time unit. Yeah, that should do it. Bye-bye.